Welcome back, Kitchen Sink Issues family members.
Yes.
I rehearsed that.
Yes.
I call you KSI as the younger of the two of us, my mother and I.
Yeah.
In case you don't recognize me as your co-host for today, I am Chido Ranganai. My Ranganai is one and only beautiful daughter. Do you want to connect the high five? There we go. Welcome back, and we will be having a Q&A session today.
Thank you.
Are you excited, my Ranganai?
Yes, I am. I'm happy to have you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Anytime.
Thank you.
Anytime.
Right. Are you ready? Do you want to read the scripture first?
Yes, let me read the scripture first. We've probably used this scripture before, but it's one of the poignant scriptures about the relationship between a mother and a daughter. Indeed, everyone who quotes Proverbs will use this proverb against you, like mother, like daughter. You are your mother's daughter. That's in English, and in Shona it says, tarira mumwe nomumwe anobata netsumo achabata netsumo iyi pamusoro pako achiti sezvakaita mai ndizvo zvakaita mwanasikana wavo, iwe uri mwanasikana wamai vako. You.
Me.
Yeah.
I have a question before we actually get into this.
Okay.
Before the real Q&A. Do you feel like I'm anything like you? What qualities do you think I've gotten from you?
You actually said it. You said it. I can't remember what we were talking about, but you said you have your father's character. However, you articulate as your mother.
Yes.
So I agree. The way you articulate is more of how I articulate more than how your father would articulate. That's number one. Number two, I think the other area of likeness would be the akinness to prayer.
Okay.
I think we are both akin to prayer. And the other area of likeness, I think, would be unashamedly in leadership. You know, there's no shame in our leadership. Yeah. I know we kind of look alike.
Kind of.
When we sit together, until other people come into the frame, they think, maybe not. But yeah, that's what I think. I can't think of anything else. What else?
Our memories. We talked about this before.
Yes. We're very memorable people. Long-term memory.
Yes. I actually think I got my love for jewelry from you.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Or at least rings. That's for
jewelry and
glasses?
Dookies.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
That's because I've taken many
yes.
over the course of my life.
That's good. Let's carry on.
Right. Q&A. Question number 1. What is the feeling of having a daughter, and how do you conceptualize how you want to raise a daughter?
Wow. That's a very good question. I think you want to recognize Kudzi, with this.
I know, right? So these questions aren't my own. My friend, Kudzai, I will give you honor where it's due. She's the one who came up with these questions, so I take 0 credit.
Brilliant question there. You can read it again. What is the feeling of having it? For me, it was everything. Because I had started with a boy, and I kind of had a feeling like, now that I have had a boy, I would like to have a girl. And because my fertility journey was very difficult, it didn't look like I was going to have another child. So when I then conceived of Chido, I didn't know. I was very open whether it's a boy because of the difficulties and the hardships. It was okay, whatever the child would be. But for the child to come out a girl, boy, I was happy. Like, I had told myself, if I get a girl child, I will leave work so that I'm available. I want to take her to school. I want to grow up with her. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
In my day and age, what we call that is a girl mom.
Is it?
Yeah. You wanted to be a girl mom.
I wanted to be a girl mom because I felt like I had given birth to a boy who really looked like his father as far as I was concerned, particularly when he was younger. Now maybe not so much, but when he was younger, he was like his father's twin, and he was the child, and everybody was heads over heels about this boy. Me, I wanted a girl. and God gave me a girl.
I'm glad I'm an answer to your prayer.
Yes, you are.
Okay. I suppose, how do you conceptualize how you wanted, or how did you conceptualize how you wanted to raise me?
Based on how my mother raised me, basically. And how is that? My mother was available. That's something, because she was not as educated as I am, but she knew how to raise us girls. Oh, by the way, I come from a family of girls only, 7 of us. And my mother was available to the 7 of us. And how she did it is, I don't think she was very good at like instructing, like giving instructions as such. You would learn as she does.
Okay.
So if you want to learn things, you have to be a part of whatever it is that she's doing. That's how she taught us a life. And I thought that was a very palatable way of raising a child. I'm not very instructional. I'm very liberal. But that doesn't mean I don't have boundaries.
Sure.
But I believe if you come into my space, you will enjoy the liberties of life, but you will also learn how to still do that within boundaries. So that's how I wanted to raise my child. And I wanted to be liberal. I wanted to be available. I wanted to be the trailblazer for her in areas that I felt I needed to, or in areas that I felt maybe my mother, because of who she was limited.
Okay.
And I could do that for my daughter, and I intended for fashion. I'm thinking fashion particularly on this one. I really wanted to open up and to be able to allow you to be a part of that, to the best of my ability.
Okay. Good response.
Thank you.
Okay, next question. Do you feel like you subconsciously raise girls and boys differently? Or maybe not even subconsciously, but purposefully. So you have one of each.
Look, I think that there are certain necessities in raising a boy child and or raising a girl child that are specific, that are gender specific.
Okay.
For example, I'm thinking issues of womanhood.
Yeah.
I didn't have to raise Gwinyai with that, because he was never going to experience it. And I had to be specific with you because you were going to experience, how a woman grows up and how her body changes and all the things that come along with it. So in that regards, there would be differences. However, that's how we actually arrived at a decision to send both of you, Gwinyai, to a boys' school, and you to a boys' only school, and you to a girls' only school. Because once Gwinyai found a place in a boys' only school, it meant if we were going to have a girl, she would go to a girl only school as well. Because we think that the energy is different.
Yes.
In a co-ed and in a boys only, girls only school. And the only way you can balance things out, as far as we looked at it, is for both our children to go to, because this one went to a boys only school, you were going to go to a girls only school. So we did that intentionally. Other areas, the majority of the areas of life in terms of life skills, home skills, me, I was gender neutral.
You were?
What Gwinyai did, you did. What, as a child growing up, dishes, cooking, cleaning, everybody did. I didn't think it was either boy or girl for that.
Okay.
So yeah, so there would be aspects that would be different for a boy, and aspects that are different for a girl, but only if it is specific to that particular gender, but not to the disadvantage of another.
Okay. I didn't know that's why we went to...
That's why you went
Those
to
schools?
a girls only school, because we found the schools we went to, two particularly. I remember Eaglesville is co-ed. I remember Sharon was co-ed. And once those schools said, Gateway, once those 3 schools said there was no place for Gwinyai, the only other schools that were available for us at that time, I think Hellenic hadn't started then. It was going to be St. John's Prep School or
St. Michael's?
Is it St. Michael's or
St. Michael's, then Hartman House.
yes. So then we realized we could only do that. And once he got in, then we felt then it means our daughter must, if God blesses us with a girl child, she will also go to a girls only school.
So he determined the course of my life.
In some regards, yes, he did.
Fair.
He did.
Fair.
Positively though.
I agree. I guess a second question I have off of that, or follow-up rather, is did you ever consider that by sending us to those schools we wouldn't be able to interact with the opposite gender?
I always told myself that we had a third space that brought the two of you together, church.
I agree.
Yeah, I always consoled myself in that because we are so much heavily invested in church life, and at church there are boys and there are girls. So that's how I resolved it in my mind that, you will encounter life with boys as he would encounter life with girls through church.
Okay.
Yeah.
I agree. And I suppose to add on to that, because there might be mothers out there who have this question because they might have young children.
Yeah.
I know doing extracurricular activities outside of school as well.
Yeah.
Huge for me.
Yeah.
Because I was doing gymnastics.
Yeah.
And, there were people from different genders and different ages. And so it taught me a lot. So
yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
Okay. Next question. What was, or maybe still is, the greatest fear about having a daughter?
The greatest fear is abuse. Is my daughter not going to be abused? It was high in me. It was actually a fear.
Really?
Yes, it was actually a fear. And I think, I don't know, I think I noticed it even in my own father, raising girls, just to be overly protective, to ensure that your child is not sexually or physically molested, abused, and things like that. That was really, really high on my mind when the girl child came through.
Okay. For any of our family members who might be dealing with the same fear, how did you overcome that and or parent through that? Like, how did that inform your parenting style or your boundaries that you gave us as children?
That's a very good question. One, I talked about it with my husband.
Okay.
I had to be honest that I have this fear. I don't know whether to call it a fear. I had this concern, but it was big in me. I had to communicate that, and I had to be honest with him to say, even you, the way you handle this child, I am. If you see me, this is my anxiety around this child, and then I also had my sisters with boys, so I was intentional to monitor when you are playing with those boys, whether my sister's children or my friend's children. I was always on my toes, over and above praying for God to cover you, I was almost always on my feet to make sure that. That's why even when at some point, I think grade 5 or grade 6, I can't remember, that was when sleepovers stopped. Once I knew that, she probably now knows more. I think grade 5 was your final birthday party that would allow for sleepovers, something like that, when you had it at grandmother's house. Remember?
I know, but that wasn't my last sleepover.
That was for a very long time.
Do I remember my childhood differently?
Please, that you do. There were no sleepovers thereafter. You could go to a party, pick you up late, but no sleepover.
We'll have to talk about this off camera.
Yeah.
But, okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I actually want to talk about this a little bit more because I think a lot of women particularly might have the same fear when they become mothers, or even when they're deciding whether they want to have children or not. what are the key things to have in that conversation with a husband, with your friends, with your sisters or family members about how you desire your girl child to be safe? Like, what does that conversation look like?
I remember us having a conversation, and their buy-in as well, to say it is possible. It is possible for children out of mischief to abuse each other. It is possible for relatives to abuse the girl child. It is possible. I was very emphatic on those things, you know.
Okay.
It went very well, particularly from my side of the family. From our side of the family, actually, it went very well. It's like we empowered each other to police the upbringing of our children, and even with our friends, we became each other's, police man, woman, whatever it is, so that we really were raising these children. Remember when you started youth at church, that your father attended youth for the 6 years you were in youth, sitting at the back in the church hall.
I do not remember.
Every Friday he was there.
He wasn't there every Friday.
Every Friday he was there, sitting at the back. After Awana, he never came home for 6 years. As long as you were attending youth, your father was at the back.
I have.
You have no idea. Your father was at the back of the church hall, youth hall, whatever hall it was. He was at the back.
I feel like I would remember this. I think you need to have a conversation with your husband because I don't recall this.
But I'm telling you, I'm the wife. I was alone for 6 years at the house. He would only come back when you would come back together from church every Friday evening for that. And he never did for Kinyai. He never, when he would drop him off, we would organize with other people to bring him home. He never did it the way he did it for you or with you.
He would come home when Gunyai moved back here, because again, Gunyai would take me back to you because he was in the sound booth. Well, it's okay, we'll take this off camera, but...
No. I wish I can bring him in just for 2 seconds. He's in there. Nyasha, in the office there. Just ask him to come for 2 minutes. Just 2 minutes. So that he can... Yes.
No, because Gunyai and I would come home together.
You were after A-level?
No.
Okay, he's coming. Guys, he's coming. He's coming to...
Is this the first time he'll be on camera?
It's the first time he'll be on camera, actually. Yeah. What a time to be introduced.
See, I bring good things to this podcast.
What a time.
Babarangane.
Yeah, he's coming. You can come. You're matching with your daughter.
We are.
Come, Baba. Come. Our audience, they're waiting to...
You have a better memory than the two of us combined.
You can come. Just 2 minutes. Just 2 minutes. Just 2 minutes. This is Babaranganai. So we are having a that's okay. We are having an argument here. I say that when Chido was in attending youth, you were with her sitting at the back for the 6 years she was in youth.
Yes, most of the time.
See, most of, not the entire time.
Yes, most of the time.
Most of the times, not all the times.
I wouldn't be in the youth service, but outside.
You'll be there still at church.
Yeah, I was still at church.
Yeah, see, that I remember.
That's what I meant, though.
I thought you said Mama. You said in there.
No. What I meant was
in the vicinity.
Yes, in the vicinity of he wouldn't come home. I actually said he wouldn't come home.
Yeah.
You would come home together.
Okay. Then,
are you happy?
No, because I have part 2. So when Gunyai moved back home, you went home, right? Because Gunyai would then bring me home. Like,
but how would he bring you home?
No,
would you finish the same time with young adults?
No, but Gunyai wasn't in young adults at that time. He was doing sound booth for youth.
Oh,
Okay.
So he would bring me home.
Yeah, okay. It's a point of correction.
See?
Yes.
But I didn't record this one. For the whole sort of year,
the whole time, ever since.
How many years?
That's 2 years.
You came back in 2015.
15.
Yeah.
Doing
lower
sixth.
Yeah. So
part of 2015. And,
so then Guinyai would be the one to bring her home. Point of correction. Not all the time. Part of it. Bye, Baba.
Thank you.
Out.
Thank you. Thank you so much. We just needed to clarify that. That takes this one to a whole hour of discussion.
How many more questions do you want to get?
That's fine. No, that's fine. We can go through them.
Okay. My next question is, how do you feel as a parent when your daughter is soon to get married or is becoming a wife or mother or daughter-in-law, etc., etc.?
How do I feel? For me, I don't know that how I feel is to do with the marriage particularly.
Okay.
I think it's just the acknowledgement to realize that this child is marriageable.
Okay.
Not necessarily that marriage is in sight.
Okay. I see what you mean. So regardless of whether marriage is in sight, you want to know your daughter
is
married.
Okay. So once a child gets to that marriageable age, according to me, I became there are certain conversations that I intentionally had because I felt like should marriage come to pass, I wish for her to have known some things.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I want to ask a question, but you can tell me whether you want to answer it now or answer it on the show when I eventually get married.
Okay.
So the question is, what were those conversations, or what are those conversations?
I can answer for some.
Okay.
I can answer for one of the conversations that was very, very important for me was to have a conversation where we discussed on, do you know what is love? How do you define love? So that when you are going out with any young person, is it on the basis of true love? And to me, that conversation was very, very crucial. 1 Corinthians 13, what is love? And I remember me talking to you and emphasizing that go for the heart.
Yeah.
The looks are deceiving. Go for the heart. That's number one. Number two, the other thing that I really, really felt very important for us to discuss is the fact that of how we have raised you up. So what defines who you are? What speaks, to your identity. I wanted you to not just know about it, but also to own it for yourself, so that should anyone ask you or ask you why, you are able to say, but this is who I am. This is how I was raised. Does that mean you don't learn? No. It just means you have a starting place to define yourself. I thought that was important. The other thing that was very important raising you up was just cleaning yourself up adequately.
It's true.
Yeah. Just making sure that when you have bathed, what is the definition of having a bath? What does that entail for a girl?
What are you cleaning?
What are you cleaning? With what?
Yeah.
That to me was important. It was also important for me, for you to learn some basic life skills like cleaning, cooking, and things like that. So it didn't matter, for me, it didn't matter whether the marriage is tomorrow. It's not even here now. But it just mattered to me that as you were growing, you would know that these are some of the life skills that you need in life.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a good response. It's almost like you've mothered me my whole life.
I have. I try.
Yeah, you do more than try. You do
well. Okay, thank you.
Okay. What would you say to younger women about what to expect in terms of your body changes over the years?
First and foremost is to acknowledge that the changes will come. And then to have conversations about what are those changes.
Okay.
Specifically. There's secondary development, of one sexual side of development and what it entails. I know that one thing that shocked us to the core was when acne showed up.
I know.
Yeah.
It was
acne,
bad.
and it was very late.
Yeah.
Because I thought we were past that. It showed up in your 20th year.
Yeah.
So, yes.
2018.
In your 20th year. And I thought actually we were way past that. We discussed other things, but because acne was not showing, it was not an issue until, boy, it became a big deal.
Yeah.
So we would talk about those things, we would make references to them. And I think one thing that I would recommend to any mother, a girl mother, is to be open, to allow for them to ask questions. So it means you also have to learn some of these developmental stages and what it entails, so that when a child is asking, you are able to articulate an answer that is at least satisfactory to them. Yeah, not to become a specialist, but just to know enough.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have so many more questions, but they're not fully formed in my head about this. So
Okay.
we'll have to have a conversation. How do you manage? In fact, before I say how do you manage all the hats that you wear? Do you feel like you do?
I don't. Yeah. Yes, I think I do.
Okay.
Because I don't think I have too many hats.
No.
I don't know that I ever had many hats.
Are you sure?
Yeah. Which many hats?
You ladies ministry, prayer ministry.
Yeah, I still do
prophetic
that.
Ministry,
Yeah.
wife, mother, sister, murora.
Yeah, they were just flowing with me.
Okay.
At no point did I feel like overwhelmed by the different roles that I would play. I would lie to you. I'm multifaceted.
I was going to say.
I'm multifaceted. I've always been an all-rounder type of person. So in this I mean, when I am being a sister, I as I'm being a sister, I'm in ministry in that regards. So how I would handle a ministry issue with people at church, I would still do that for my sisters. I would still do that for you. I'll still do that for whoever else. So it's not like my life was so in segments or boxes. It was just flowing. It's very fluid. One role would lead into another. As I am a daughter-in-law, I'm friends with my sister-in-law. I will minister to my sister-in-law. So I never, yeah.
But do you feel like that was because
What would overwhelm is not the role. You know what I mean? What would overwhelm might be the magnitude
okay,
of the responsibilities,
okay,
but not so much that it's because of this role. No, if some roles were of minimal attention at any given time, and then another responsibility would require so much attention, I'll just flow with things, as they were happening.
okay.
Yeah.
Do you think that was because, or is because you chose not to pursue a corporate career?
That's a very good question. I did pursue a corporate career up to a certain stage.
You did, yes.
You might want to ask the question, why did you pull out of that corporate career?
You can go ahead and answer that.
You.
I know. See, I know this, but the people don't know this.
Because remember, I prayed that if God gives me a girl child, I want to spend time with that child.
In your mind, so you sort of answered that, but because you just said what would affect you is the scope of responsibility.
Yes.
What was the scope of responsibility with a corporate career versus all the other hats that you have had and still have? Like, what was the difference, or what outweighed the other for you to then say, I've chosen to forego this?
I struggled. I'm sorry, you hear a bit of a noise in the background. It's a fan. It's very hot where we are sitting right now, and I need to fan myself. What I realized is that the type of work that I was in was very rigid.
Okay.
There was no flexibility. So you had to report for work at 8 o'clock. You had to finish work at a certain time. And that wasn't very... If I had raised children today in the day and age of flexibility, working from home and things like that, I may not have needed to leave employment. But because definitely it meant leaving you and going away, I opted not to do that.
Okay.
I opted to be available.
Okay.
Yeah.
I now have a question, partially for me as someone who wants to pursue a corporate career, but also have a family and do many other things.
Yeah.
As well as other people in our family who, by family I mean all of you, who might want to or even need to pursue a corporate career or something that brings income into the household. How would you then advise they manage the hats? What are the principles they can take away from that?
I think that you have to discuss this with the husband.
Okay.
Like we had a conversation with my husband.
Yeah.
So when I left the corporate world, we then started a small business. And remember, the issue there was I wanted flexibility.
Okay.
So by starting a small business, it meant I would work the times that are, specific to my needs. And so some of the conversations that people can have is how else are you going to have an income if you pull yourself out of the corporate structures? And if you can answer that, then go by that. So I'm not saying to come out of a corporate structure so that you become dependent, financially dependent. No, is to come out for me, what was really important was to be flexible.
Okay.
Yes, I still wanted to make money. I still made money.
You did.
Maybe not as much, but I still made some money. And I still continue to up to this day, as long as the ways and means for which I'm making money are flexible.
Okay, so I want to point out what I've heard from you, but also ask a follow-up question. So the first thing is, I hear you say flexibility, and you needed to understand what would still meet your needs.
Yeah.
Obviously, while having these conversations with Dad.
Yeah.
So you needed to identify what your main desire was, which is that flexibility.
Yes.
Okay, so that's important for people to be able to identify and articulate as well.
Yes.
And then to identify what they need as a result of this thing that they desire.
Yes.
Okay. And then to figure out what the plan is from there.
Right.
And then eventually figure out how else do you bring in income. This is Zimbabwean economy or wherever you might be watching from.
That's true.
It's never predictable. So that makes sense. I think there's one thing you told me, and you've always told me about being a woman, a wife, and a mother when it comes to financial flexibility. Do you want to touch more on that for the viewers, just to understand why that was beneficial for you?
What did I say to you?
It empowers you.
Yes. Oh, that's what you meant.
Yeah.
I was thinking, in case we start arguing again, we have to quote it back. Yes, I believe in empowerment.
Yeah.
I believe in all the facets of empowerment: financial empowerment, mental empowerment, spiritual, economical, emotional empowerment. And I do not believe that parenting should disempower you.
Okay, that's deep.
I do not believe that parenting should be used as an excuse for disempowerment.
Okay.
As a result, I studied for my first degree. I registered and started school 8 months pregnant with my first son. Because I did not believe parenting should disempower you.
Okay.
And so that's why I am an advocate for flexibility. Things that will allow you to continue to achieve in life and yet still have whatever else has been happening carrying on. Yes, I know definitely other aspects will suffer, but not lost.
Okay.
What I refuse is to lose something completely in the name of because I'm parenting.
Okay.
Yeah.
How would you encourage mothers or people in this situation who are parenting but they feel disempowered? How would you encourage them? So maybe they've lost whatever it was that was empowering them, or maybe, like you said, it's just to a lesser extent at this present moment. How would you encourage them?
I believe that when you are venturing into parenting, having children, you have to talk about before.
Okay.
Don't arrive at parenting like
it's a surprise.
It's a surprise.
Yeah.
It can't be 9 months.
I know.
It can't be a surprise. So at some point you have to have that conversation. You have to be able to know what you want for yourself.
Okay.
That's how you come to that place. That's how I realized that I can handle flexibility. However, I need to continue to be financially empowered.
Okay.
to be mentally empowered, spiritually empowered. I felt I needed that, and I ensured that it didn't matter sometimes if I have to decrease the extent to which things are happening, as long as I know it's existing in my life.
Okay.
It gave me impetus, it gave me momentum, and yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What more to the mother who has the child but hasn't defined all of this? How do you then encourage, or how would you?
I really have been, I honestly deem myself to be an ambassador for empowerment for women.
I hear you.
I really am an ambassador for it because I believe in it. I believe we need to not lose ourselves at what some of these responsibilities in life, particularly parenting as we are discussing it. However, I know that sometimes you can't have it both ways. One might suffer a little bit, but don't lose it completely. Particularly, I'm talking about work, career, and things like that. You can't lose that completely. Yeah, you can't. You can't. You don't have to lose it completely. And particularly in the world of today, there's so much flexibility. Yeah, there are things that you can do from home. There are things that you can do online, and yeah, you carry on like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what I'm hearing you say throughout all of this is identifying what you want, identifying what you need, and then articulating it to your partner, the person you're raising the children with.
Yeah.
Like that's an important aspect of it.
Very important.
Okay. Because I imagine your wants and needs can change over time.
They do.
Okay. And so that needs to be an open and ongoing conversation.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And a willingness. Sometimes it's just a willingness to miss out, like, for example, as an independent woman who is working, earning good, there are things that you'll be able to do because of that. But when you choose now to go the parenting route, it means you have to reduce this side of life. You may lose that, whatever it is that you've chosen to let go of, but in the process not losing yourself, so that you manage this other side of life while you're parenting your child, of which you can still pick it up later in life. Whatever it is that you'd have said, okay, this will wait, let me focus on here. Of this side of my life, I'm going to keep 1, 2, 3. I went to school during my parenting years. That was in my capacity and power to do.
Yeah.
I went to school, I carried on doing that. Of the things that I do now, I then picked up myself once my children were older.
Okay. That's a fantastic response.
Thank you.
And with that response,
yes,
comes the end of the episode.
Thank you. Thank you. After arguing and disagreements, thank you so much, Kitchen Sink Issues family. You are welcome to comment. You're welcome to ask further questions. And thank you. We honor Kudzi Sachkonye for giving us these questions. Thank you.
Thank you all. Goodbye.
Bye.